Hey everybody, Jordan Belfort here for my first Facebook livecast, and I'm pretty excited about this, guys. And I'm listen. In truth, I'm not going to be doing these for that much longer because I got a lot of stuff going on. Super busy, but I love having the opportunity to go through certain aspects of the straight line system for closing, entrepreneurship, and really also the inner game of success, teaching people really how to have the mindset they need to get what they want in life, and also to take the time to figure out what they want in life. And I think so often there's people who have the outer game skills, meaning they have good strategies, they know the rules of business, but they really never took the time to set a target for themselves that was bold and bright and compelling and that really turned them on. And because of that, they almost have to force themselves to not just get motivated, but just force themselves to like take the steps to go through life. And like I always hear this question, Jordan, how do I motivate myself? How do I get myself to get pumped up? And typically it's a lack of vision and not understanding your why. And that's not the topic of today's livecast. In fact, today I'm going to be talking about one thing specifically, and that's closing, how to close the deal. But I just really wanted to tell you to realize that there's more to success than simply just learning a bunch of skill sets that you need to succeed. There's also that mindset, and so much of it is up here. And having the resiliency to keep coming back after you get knocked down and you have setbacks and so forth. So anyway, here's the agenda for today. I want to lay it out very quickly here because I want to really focus on the content, because this is probably, of all the things I teach, this is really, I would think, probably the most valuable, the most monetizable. And when I go out and I do consulting at large corporations and even smaller companies, this is really what they pay me for, in the sense that, and it's about showing salespeople how to take prospects who are on the fence, who are almost there, like, they're giving you buy signals, or they're giving you objections that are smoke screens. Not like I can't afford it, or no, I don't want it. Not those people. I'm talking about the ones that are close, all those stalls, let me call you back, let me think about it. Those people, and show you what's basically a foolproof way to close them. Meaning in a way that you can basically close anyone who's closable. Now that doesn't mean you're going to close everyone. Some people are simply not closable. But the idea is that once you become even reasonably proficient with this aspect of the straight line, you very quickly get to the point where you say, I know they didn't buy from me, but they wouldn't have bought from anybody. They just weren't buyers. Like, it wasn't like, Jordan could have gotten on and closed them, or my friend Jimmy could. It's just, you get it? That's the point you want to get to. Because the most demoralizing thing, I think, for any salesperson is to be out there banging away, getting themselves in front of qualified prospects, and then walking away, not closing the deal, knowing in your heart of hearts, like, I just, I screwed it up, or I was just a little bit better and knew what to do. I would have gotten the guy. And that's a terrible. It's almost like enough to make you want to quit being a salesperson. And I use the word salesperson loosely because sales is everything. Everyone's always selling. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. Some aspect of your life is affected directly by your ability to influence, persuade, make your ideas known, your thoughts known, your hopes and dreams known, and in the case of sales, a particular product to sell the value, the solution that you have essentially to someone to help them resolve some pain or whatever, right? But it's for everyone. So if you're not a salesperson, you need to take a very, very hard look at your ability to communicate your thoughts and ideas to other people. Because I will tell you, guys, I'm in a bunch of different businesses right now, and a lot of what I do is not sales related. In other words, so much of my ability to succeed in other businesses is where I'm applying the techniques of a salesperson to non-sales situations, whether it's writing emails strategically, or looking to negotiate with people, or just getting to rapport to try to find great suppliers and get the best prices and stuff like that. It cuts to every aspect of business, to recruiting people to come work for you. It's such a huge thing. So again, you have to, it's time, if you're not already doing it, it's really time that you start, you got to break out of that little box you're in if you're in it, about sales being for salespeople. It's just not true. And if you move through life thinking that, you're going to be severely disempowered. You are. You're going to be severely disempowered. You have to work twice as hard to get the same outcome. Very often you won't get the outcome you're looking for, because it typically requires other people to be involved, and those people need to be recruited, and and so forth. So again, don't look at this as just being for salesmen. So with that, let's talk about the agenda. So my first Facebook livecast, right? I told everyone I would do something awesomely special for you guys. So let me tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make you the most ridiculous offer on the actual straight line product in a second, but I want to do that very quickly because I only want to spend a couple minutes on that so I can spend the next hour just on content. I hate when it's a webinar and turns into a fucking sellathons. That's not what this is about here. But I want to give, this is like something I really want to do for everyone here. It's a deal basically of the century. I only did this in Christmas last year. It was ridiculous, right? Now, and I'll very quickly tell you what it is. We'll go through within 2 minutes. Then we'll spend the next 55 minutes just on pure learning. That's kind of like what I like when I'm listening to someone else speak, okay? So very quickly, I call this my kitchen sink offer, all right? I do this only once in a while, typically twice a year. So I'll probably do it during Christmas again, okay? And what it basically is, I like, I said, listen, thankfully the projects are all digital, right? So the cost to me is zero. I mean, the cost was in creating the product and in the IP, but the actual cost of delivery is zero. We're close to it, right? So it gives me the opportunity when I want to be generous. I can be really fucking generous, right? So today is one of those days. It's sort of a celebration. My life is going great. I don't think I've ever been happier or felt better or felt more empowered. So I want everyone to really have the same benefit. And that's really because of the skills I possess, both in the inner game and the outer game of success. It's allowed me to build, or say rebuild my life to what it is today, where I'm sort of firing on all cylinders, both in business, personally, relationships. And I just feel fucking great, And I want everyone, it's a gift I want everyone to have. And in order to get to that point, you need to have certain specific knowledge. It's just the way it is. Knowledge is the real estate of the 21st century. So let's get to it. Okay, very quickly, many of you, I'm sure, already own the straight line system. Okay, some of you bought it online and paid $19.97. That's what you can go right now and buy it for $19.97. Some of you have gotten lucky, and I had a special for $9.97. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this kitchen sink offer is I'm going to be, number one, the core product is the straight line system, and that's the entire straight line. It's online now. It's not DVDs anymore, but it's your 10 tapes. It's 10 essentially the 10 lessons you have. Okay, both video and audio, 130-page workbook. Most awesome fucking system ever, really. It's the linchpin of everything I've done. It's a straight line system. And again, if you go on my website right now, it retails for $19.97. I sell it all day long. People come from all over the world. They just click on the website, and that's that. So that's number one. Number two is the sister product to that, which is straight line marketing. And that is essentially, so marketing and sales work in conjunction with each other, right? Marketing is how you bring your leads into your funnel. Sales is how you close them. So I have a product which is the counterpart, uses those same straight line tactics, and it essentially shows you how to go out there, and it's online marketing, and it shows you how to get massive leads and so forth. There's a kick-ass product too. That product I normally sell for, I think, at $15.97. Okay, so those two together is normally just around $2,500. Okay, $2,600. Next, I have what's called my script builder kit, and the script builder kit's awesome. It shows you how to write scripts, gives you all the templates. It's a very, very sophisticated product, plug and play for you for writing scripts, which is really the cornerstone of the system, by the way, is you have to know what you're going to say. You sound like a moron, right? Normally, that's $5.97. And lastly, there's a product called the Inner Game of Wealth, which I usually sell for $99. It's a small program, and I give away a lot of bonuses, but that's the other products. Those four products together, you're looking at a total cost around $4,500, a little bit more, right? So that's what you'd pay for if you wanted to buy them individually and go online. For just this webinar, people who came to this webinar are reward you for taking action, all right? And this is just a one-day offer. It's for today only, all right? And it's normally, when I discount the straight line, I sell it for $9.97. So I do half prices. $19.97, I sell it for $9.97, right? Today, I'm doing everything, all the products for $9.97. So you're saving like $3,800. It's a ridiculous deal. It's called the kitchen sink deal. The reason I can do it again is because the products don't cost me anything. All right, I already created, I already spent the money. So it's my gift to you, and it sort of takes everything, any excuse you have about not being able to afford it or whatever. It takes all out of the equation, all right? So again, the link to that will be, I think it's, what is it, jordanbelfort.com/Facebook. The link will be at the bottom. That's that, okay? So that's the offer for today. It's just for today. So if you want to do it, you got to do it by midnight. And now let's get to the good stuff, all right? So I just want to get that out of the way because I know sometimes people have to leave and they don't even get to hear the offer. So this way you got to hear the offer and you can make it, hope you take it. If you don't own the straight line system, do it. You got to fucking do it, okay? You'd be a fool not to. If you already own the straight line, you should do it anyway because you get the other products for free, but what do you do, okay? And with that, let's move on. So, simple apple juice, bet by, not that they don't sponsor me. This is the world's best apple juice. Martinelli's fucking great, okay? I got my cocaine here, my liquid cocaine. Okay, so let's do it. You start off and you have those first 4 seconds. And those first 4 seconds of the conversation, the sales encounter, right? You literally have to capture their attention and position yourself as an expert, sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell. You got 4 seconds to do it. Why? Because that allows you to take control of the conversation. Without that, you're screwed. There's no way to use the straight line. You must be perceived as an expert. In the system, there's a whole module on that, so I'm not going to go cover that. But it's a must. Without that, nothing works. Because if you're not in control, then you can't dictate the pathway of the sale. They're in control. They'll fucking go for Pluto, Uranus. Not a good place to be. It just doesn't work. Okay, so it's a must. That's step one. Once you have control of the sale, you then use that control not to talk. Use that control to gather intelligence, to find out your prospects' needs, their values, their hierarchy of values, the most important value, where their pain lies, and so forth. And again, there are certain rules for doing this. Asking for permission to ask questions, going from invasive, non-invasive to invasive questions, all this sort of stuff with tonality and big picture. Anyway, again, it's all in the straight line system. Many of you already own it. If you don't, you should buy it. I'm not going to go through it now, but just remember the key distinction there is that when I say take control of the conversation, I'm not meaning that you become a talking head where you just go and you talk and they listen. That's not what happens. In fact, it's the opposite. You use that control to ask them questions, to identify the things that you need to identify in order to see whether or not you should even waste your time or theirs to present to them a solution, if they need it or not. Does your product help them, right? Whether they're financially qualified. So that's a crucial part of it. Now, at the end, on one point, and by the way, as you're doing that, that's the secret to building rapport. So step one is taking control through those first 4 seconds, using that control to gather intelligence. But gathering intelligence is a certain way that we do it with the straight line through a process called active listening and tonality, where we can actually build massive rapport on both a conscious and an unconscious level as we're asking questions and listening to the answers. That's one of the most powerful strategies of the straight line. It really, really is. I use it all the time in all aspects of my life, this active listening and using certain tonalities when I ask questions to get the responses that I'm looking for and to bring people into very tight rapport with me. So that's that sort of like that chicken egg, what comes first? Is it rapport or gathering intelligence? Well, they happen simultaneously. Okay? Those are your first 3 steps. Let's assume that you've gathered your intelligence and the person qualifies. You can help them. They can afford your product. They want your product, right? Now we do what's called our transition, where we essentially say, Jim, based on everything you've said to me, this product is a perfect fit for you. Let me show you why. And obviously you would say with better tonality than that, but that's your transition. And again, I'm not going to go through that because that's covered in the system as well. And then that transition takes us to the next step in the syntax, which is we make our straight line presentation. This is our core, the main body, where we essentially offer our solution to the prospect. So again, in the beginning, we gather intelligence, we're identifying the problem, rooting out the pain, finding the core problem. And then our solution in the form of a sales presentation is designed to solve that problem. And again, there's all these rules. There's many different rules for this. And that's covered both in the script building kit and in the main the straight line system. So I'm not going to go through it today, okay? But it's powerful stuff. There are 10 core distinctions for writing scripts that are absolutely crucial. Many are counterintuitive, so if you don't know them, you'll screw them up. So it's an absolute must. And, and I'll just very quickly explain why it's so important. One of the things we talk about, with rapport is that, rapport / charisma. This idea you have to have charisma. Well, charisma is such a key element in persuasion, right? And to be able to have charisma means to be able to slide effortlessly into rapport with people, which is a must in selling. And the mistake, I think, or let's just say the misconception that people have is that rapport is something that's reserved for the select, the lucky few who are born with it. You're either born with it or you're not. And that's just bullshit. It's not true, right? Charisma, like sales, is an entirely learnable skill made of 3 things. Number 1, the effective use of tonality, sounding good. Just speaking in a certain manner that just makes people want to hang on your every word. That's number 1. Second aspect is appropriate body language. Not just moving your body as you speak, that's important, of course, but also how do you listen when someone answers? How do you nod your head, the grunts, ooh, ah, ooh, all that active listening, we call that, allows you to essentially have charisma. It's really people, they sense that, wow, you care, you understand them, and so you feel them, right? So, again, 3 things. Number 1 is its effective tonality. 2, appropriate body language. And the third element of charisma is not saying stupid shit. You have to be smart when you speak. And for that's the importance of scripting. To essentially know what you're going to say before you say it. All right? And again, there's so many rules for this, and it's such a powerful module. But again, it's not the purpose of today. It's in the system. It's in the script building kit. Okay? If you don't have it, you should buy it. For those of you who have it, review it again. Make sure your scripts are up to par. Okay? And then at the end of that script, your first presentation, you're always going to end by asking for the order for the first time. That's where the script will end. When you say, let me tell you what you should do. And you're like, it's the same way as a doctor, an expert does it. They say, here's what you should be doing, and you tell them what they should do. That's your close. I want you to pick up XYZ stock, buy this insurance policy, get this car, this TV, whatever it is you're selling, doesn't matter. You tell them what to do, ask for the order for the first time. Now, here we are at the point where I really want to start digging in, slowing things down, and teaching you. But I really want to put things in context by doing a quick review. So now you've asked for the order for the first time, right? And essentially, there are only 3 things that can happen. There's 3 things. They could say yes, which is awesome. They don't very often say yes right away, but sometimes they say yes, right? In a very small percentage. They say, yep, great, let's do it. The second thing they could say is, no, I'm not interested. And that they rarely say. In fact, if you are doing your straight line prospecting effectively, you'll almost never get no. Because the people who weren't interested in your product or who didn't need your product, they were weeded out beforehand. You're only presenting to qualified buyers who need your product. So you don't really get no. It's not, and by the way, just so you know, it's not the job of a salesman. Like a good salesman does not turn no's into yeses. It's not what we do. We turn, let me think about it, into a yes. Let me call you back into a yes. Let me speak to my wife. And that's what a salesperson does. So again, yes, let's do it is the first thing they can say. No is I'm not interested, which is very rare, very, very rare. And third is maybe. And maybe is the catch-all for all the so-called objections. That's what maybe means. When someone says, let me think about it, they're saying maybe. I'm not saying no, I'm not saying maybe. When someone says, let me call you back, that's maybe. When someone says, let me speak to my partner, that's maybe. All those objections chunk up into maybe. So there's only 3 things that they can say. Now, the question is, what do when they give you that objection? See, this is really where most salespeople who don't know the straight line will fall into a death spiral, because they, number one, what they typically do is that they'll get an answer to an objection. Let me think about it. Let's say this is, the guy will say, yeah, sounds good, let me think about it. And the way they try to overcome or close the deal is they'll try to overcome the objection itself. Like, you don't really need to think about it. Like, they'll try to come up with a reason why the prospect doesn't actually need to think about it. And just so you know, in one of the manuals I have like 35 answers to that objection. But they're irrelevant. There are answers to the objection, but that's not what closes the deal, especially the first time. The first time someone says, let me think about it. So let's say you asked for the order, and the prospect says to you, sounds good, let me think about it. What do you say? You say to the person, I hear what you're saying, not I understand. I hear what you're saying, so we're not breaking rapport. I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the program make sense? Do you like the product? Does it make sense to you? And notice my tonality, this is very important here, is that sort of, it's like that hypothetical, money aside tonality. I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Right? Now, again, he could say 30 things, yes, no, maybe, but in fact, he'll never say, no, it sucks. It's very rare, right? But again, if you recall if those of you know anything about the straight line, we have these 3 tenets. Gotta love the product, gotta trust and connect with you, trust and connect with the company, right? This is not what I'm covering today, but it's a linchpin, these 3 tenets, right? And obviously, as a salesperson, you want the person to be absolutely certain that your product is awesome, absolutely certain he trusts you, absolutely certain he trusts your company, right? That means a 10, 10, 10. So you have this continuum. 1 means they think your product is shit, 10, they think it's awesome. So obviously you want as close to a 10 as possible. And that's essentially what your script, your presentation is designed to do, to create certainty, to build their certainty, right? So when you ask for the order for the first time and someone says, let me think about it, what they're really saying to you is, I'm not certain. I'm not certain enough yet. See, it would be great if they say, well, Jordan, I'm just not certain I like your product enough, or I'm not certain about you. People are too polite. So it's almost like a circuit breaker mechanism where they just say, hey, it sounds good, let me think about it. But they don't really need to think about it. What they're saying is, I need to be made more certain. So there's absolutely no point to getting into an argument with someone about why you need to think about it or not, because if you could simply make him more certain, the objection will vanish. You understand that? If someone says, let me think about it, but what's really holding them back is they're not so certain about your product, well, if I get them more certain about my product, the objection they'll drop the objection. So I don't have to overcome the objection, I deflect it. I say, I hear what you're saying, so I'm not going to ignore it, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea of the product make sense? Do you like the product? And he'll say, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now ask yourself this question. What is that on the certainty scale? Is that a 10? No. It's probably, they say, yeah, it sounds pretty good. That's like a 5 or a 6. Now, when someone is at a 5 or a 6 on the certainty scale, is that high enough to buy? Probably not. Like, some people, I'm really easy to sell to, but maybe even I need to be to 7. If they're at a 5 or 6, that sounds pretty good. That's not where you want someone when you ask for the order, and it's certainly not where you expect someone to buy. When you say to someone, does the idea make sense to you? They say, oh, fucking yeah, man. That's what I want the guy to say. And I'll get him to say it. I will. But I realize I might not, I almost probably will very seldom be able to get him to do it at once. Those people don't get that certain in one shot. So if someone enters the situation, and remember, everyone will enter your sales funnel at some predetermined level of certainty. They know about your product. They're not from fucking Mars, all right? They're from the planet Earth. So whatever you're selling, they have some preconceived notion. Doesn't matter what you sell, as soon as they hear about it, they have some preconceived. Oh wow, I love that's really good. 6 or 7, or they might think it's a piece of shit. It's a 3. So it doesn't matter what you sell. They always have a preconceived notion based on their beliefs, their experiences, and so forth, right? Your job as a salesperson, very simply, is wherever they enter your sales funnel, let's say they enter at a 4 when you first start the encounter, everything you say, everything you do, every gesture you make, every tonality you use, every document you hand, every email you send, everything is designed to increase that level of certainty. That's what salespeople do, with the goal of trying to get them to that magic 10. Not just for the product, so they love the product. Number 2, they trust and connect with you, in deep rapport with you. And number 3, they trust and connect with the company. Those 3 things must line up before someone says yes. And in the absence of that, what do? They say, let me think about it. That's where all the objections come from. So how do you answer objections? Very simply. Your objections will fall away once you build the sufficient amount of certainty. So that's what this back half of the straight line is all about. This looping strategy is about taking an objection and essentially using it as an opportunity to build more certainty and then transition into a close and ask for the order again. That's what looping does. And it is so wildly effective. And by the way, it's what all natural-born salespeople do automatically. That's the irony. You see, the way I discovered this is because I realized, well, that's what I was doing, and it just hit me one day what was going on. Then I had a certain pattern I was running. And if you look at all great sales, that's what they do. So if someone says to them, call me back, they're not going to go into some long dissertation about why they don't need to call back. They might do something very briefly, say, well, we don't really work in callbacks. But let me say this, the true beauty of the program, and they'll resell the product to raise their prospect's level of certainty. So now what we do with the straight line is we take that and we make it formulaic. So it's easy to duplicate, easy to learn, and easy to apply to any industry out there. That's the magic of the straight line, is that you take these, what seems like complex things, and you turn them into simple, repeatable, executable strategies. So let's do it in real life. So someone says to you, you pitch them, let's say, a stock, right? I'll just pick a stock, right? XYZ stock. And you say, pick up 10,000 shares, believe me, you'll be very, very impressed. They say, sounds good, Jordan, let me think about it. So I'm going to, step 1, deflect the objection by saying, I hear what you're saying. If I'm front, I won't put my hand to my ear, right? Just to let you guys know, right? I said, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Now notice my tonality, it's this hypothetical, money aside tonight. I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Those are the magic words they're going to put millions in your pocket. And the guy will say, yeah, it sounds pretty good. And that's like about a 6. And I say, exactly. It's an amazing situation. And let me say this. The true beauty of the program is, and now I already have a second chunk of material, script, already prepared. If I'm on the phone, I can do it in front of me. If not, I'll memorize, right? So in other words, when I'm writing my presentations, it's not one presentation, it's a series of presentations. Because I know that there's a 95% chance that when I ask for the order for the first time, I'm not going to get a yes. I'm going to get one of the objections. I'm waiting for it. I'm expecting it. I'm savoring it. I'm ready to roll, because I know what I'm going to do. The same thing every time. Someone says, let me think about it. I say, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense? He says, I have to speak to my wife. I say, I understand you need to speak to her. Let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense? I have to call you back. I want to do some research. I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't matter what he says. Well, what his objection is on the first time around, you'll say, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does it make sense to you? Do you like the program? Do you like the stock? And what you've done there is you've disarmed him with your tonality. You've maintained rapport, because I say, I hear, yes, I gotcha. Just hypothetically, but you don't say hypothetically, use your tonality. And then you go about giving him your second language pattern, your second script now, which is designed to work in conjunction with the first script. And it actually builds that much. Now you see, this is why one of the rules, and again, this is not I didn't want to go into scripting here today, right? But one of the primary rules of scripting is not to front load, meaning don't put all your best shit up front in main script. You want to frame, put some good things in, and then have even some better stuff So if he doesn't buy on the first time, you can then say, oh, by the way, the true beauty is, oh, I forgot Columbo. I forgot to tell you the true beauty. Now you got even better stuff to give him. That's the secret. To know what you're going to say before you say it and have 3 separate patterns prepared. So when he says no the first time, you're right back with even more compelling ideas, right? And after you're done with that, you'll say, you see what I'm saying, John? It's a great, he'll say, oh yeah, wow. He'll actually raise his own, you'll see, he'll raise his own level of certainty. Especially if you get a little bit more excited too. So, as you're speaking, you're getting more excited. And we say, you see what I'm saying, John? It's a really great deal. He'll say, whoa, yeah, it's awesome. Now he went to a 9. And now do I ask for the order? No. Because I know I still have to talk about myself. I have to make sure that he's certain about me. So I say, John, let me ask you this. If I've been your broker for the last 3 or 4 years, making you money on a consistent basis, you probably wouldn't be saying, let me think about it right now. You'd be saying, Jordan, pick up 10,000 shares. Now, just so you know, that applies to any industry. You just got to change the wording. Now, if you're selling TVs, you can't say, if I've been selling you TVs, that's stupid. Be smart about it, okay? But the point is that concept is, listen, if you knew me, if I've been your advisor, your salesman, for the last 3 or 4 years, and I made you nothing but money, I was right every single time. I told you to buy this, it was awesome. You wouldn't be saying, let me think about it. You'd be saying, let's sign up right now. Am I right? And you know what? 99 of 100 times, they'll say, yeah, that's true, Jordan. If I knew you, yes, I'd be buying right now. And then I say, now that I can understand. See, notice when his objection was in play, I said, I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying I understand. I said, I hear, so we're in Paul. But now when he says, yeah, I don't really know you, I said, now that I can understand. Because I do. I respect that. You don't know me. We don't have the luxury of a track record. Let me reintroduce myself. And now I'll have an actual script prepared. I'll know what to say about myself. I'll have myself packaged in the best way possible. I'll tell them about myself. How I pride myself on this and that, customer service, going the extra mile, long-term relationship, right? And then will I then transition to a close? No, I still won't. I'll now say, and as far as my company goes, XYZ, I now transition into my firm. So remember, the 3 10s are the product, you, and your company. He has to trust all 3. So I'm going to hit each 10 in this so-called loop. The reason it's called a loop is because you're essentially going back and representing, and then you get to close again. So I say, after I'm done talking about myself, I say, and by the way, as far as my company goes, XYZ, they are the most well-respected, and I'll just have a whole thing written about my company. And then after I'm done with it, I'll say, John, I'll tell you, why don't we do this? Okay? And now, again, it's different in every single industry, because sometimes you can start off and you can sell someone a slightly smaller amount of something called a step-down sale. So you could say, well, instead of picking up 10,000 shares, John, pick up 5,000 shares. You could, if it's possible. Okay, but if it's not possible to do, well, let's say, John, let's do this. Give me one shot here, okay? Let's pick up the whatever it might be, whatever you price, right? And many times now, okay, you'll have a guarantee attached to it. There'll be a rescission period very often, okay? And you can work that in the deal like this. Because this is the next phase of it. It's called lowering someone's action threshold. What that means is sometimes when you're selling, you're going to run into people who are just very, very difficult to sell to. Even when they're very, very certain. Like they're almost like at a 10 about the product, a 10 about you, 10 about the company. They're still fucking saying no, right? Like my father's like that. And the reason for that is they have very high action thresholds. That's the straight line terminology. Someone like myself, I'm like a sucker. I buy everything. I have a very low action threshold. I buy shit. I'm a buyer, right? Why is that? What's the difference between my father and myself, and how, as a salesman, can you essentially use the understanding of what's going on to close massive amounts of sales? Well, the answer is very simple. When my father and I are making a decision, because all humans do this, we make decisions based on movies. We run these movies. We play out to the future. It's called future pacing. So before I say yes, I actually imagine what my life will be like if I buy this product and I get the benefit. How much better off will I be? Or if I buy the product and it's a piece of shit and sucks, how much worse will How much is it going to cost me? What's the damage, right? You always run an upside downside. That's how human beings make decisions. That's our decision-making strategy. My father does that. I do that. Every human being does that. But there's a difference. People like my father, people with very high action thresholds, who are hard to sell to, when they run the negative movie, they run a really long, drawn out, a really fucking dark movie. Like by the time they're done, they have themselves dead in the ground buried because of this one $5 purchase. They kill themselves. They imagine the worst. And when it comes to running the good, positive movie, the benefits, they're like, well, yeah, maybe I'll get a little. They don't allow themselves to really move them into the future. The blunt, they run a very short positive movie or a long negative movie. Myself, on the other hand, people like me, when I'm about to make that decision and I run the movies, I'll run a really long positive movie. I'll imagine all the great things I'll get, all the benefits and stuff, and I'll say, if it doesn't work, fuck, whatever. What's that? I don't run the long negative movie. You get it? That's the difference between people who are very hard to sell to versus those who are very easy to sell to. Makes perfect sense, right? So how do we essentially use that ethically to help our prospects make the right decision? Because what happens so often with people is part of it is that they're in denial. Like they need something really badly, but they're in fucking denial over it. And like my dad walked around his whole life with needing shit because he just wouldn't buy. He wasn't a buyer, right? And it's very ethical for if you're really going to help someone, to help them overcome this ridiculous decision-making strategy. The way we do it is so simple. We essentially, I'll tell you, and again, to really do this right, you should buy the system, okay? Because I go through it every step of the way. So I hope you have the system, okay? But it's so beautiful. This is like the $1 million thing here. This is where the freaking rubber hits the road, right? So what we do is we make them run a different strategy. We essentially hijack their movie strategy using language. Language is the software of the brain. So what I will do, I'll say, John, let me ask you a question. What's the worst that can possibly happen? Let's say you buy it. What's the worst that can possibly happen? Let's say I'm wrong and the product is not what and the stock drops 3 points. Is that going to put you in the poorhouse? Honestly, John. See, what happens is I'm not letting him spiral off into like he'll be dead, buried because of this one trade, right? Embarrassed, mortified, in the hospital of the fucking high blood, right? And I stop him from doing that, and I run the movie for him, and I run a realistic movie. I tell him the truth. What's the worst that can happen? Not much. You lose $500-$600. Is that going to put you in the poorhouse, John? Honestly. He'll say, no. I say, exactly, it's not. But on the upside, John, okay, if I'm right, we make stocks 20 points. We'll make $15,000, $20,000. That's not going to make you the richest man in town. But what it will do, it will serve as a benchmark of future business. And what I can do for you besides this one, and then I'll start running this long, positive movie showing him all the amazing benefits he's going to get by making this decision. And he's never done this before. He's never run the positive movie. He runs the negative shit movie. I've stopped this shit movie. I've run this awesome, great movie. Ethically, don't lie. Okay, the right movie. And when I'm done with that, all of a sudden, I've essentially taken someone like my father and temporarily shifted him to someone like myself, his buying strategy. And then I essentially lower that action threshold, and I step through that window, and I ask for the order again, while he's feeling that positive energy from the good movie and not getting shut down by the bad movie. And I ask for the order again. When you learn how to do that, even reasonably, you cannot believe the power that it has over people's decision-making strategies. And I always say there's an ethical component. Do not use this to manipulate people, to get people to buy things they shouldn't buy, to do things don't do that shit, okay? I want you to use this ethically and honestly, but it is powerful shit, okay? There's, listen, in the system I led, all the language patterns, there's hypnotic language patterns, there's just this offsetting language patterns, there's just so much stuff that, the system is so many, guys, it's been around now since, I'm old, almost 30 fucking years, right? 28 years ago I invented the system, right? And it's just been getting better and better and better. And it essentially cuts to the very heart of what makes people say yes. And that process is called looping. And lastly, there's one more point to this I want to add on here, okay? And then I'm going to go into some Q&A, is that if they're still not quite there, and in fact, very occasionally, there's a fifth aspect we can add on. The first three of those three tens, right? You got to love the product, trust and connect with you, trust the company. Fourth is the action threshold. Fifth is the pain threshold. In other words, remember I said when we prospect, we uncover their pain. By reintroducing that pain, bringing it up, what's really bothering them, that actually lowers their action threshold again. So we get this another bite at the apple. They don't say yes by now, and bringing up what's bothering them, and then again bringing up more benefits and so forth, transitioning into a close one more time, and that is the process of looping. It's called the back half of the straight line, and it's the secret sauce of it, and it is awesome. It works. So I urge you, I'm sure most of you already have the system, go through that module again, because that module is gold. That'll put more money in your pocket than virtually anything, okay? So with that, I want to now spend we have 15 minutes left. I want to start answering some questions. By the way, again, for those of you who remember, this is, look at this, I got this, talk about high-tech shit. I want to show you. Here's my high-tech shit. The kitchen sink off. My assistant drew them. So again, that's $9.97 for anybody who wants, only for today. Okay, that's for the straight line, the straight line marketing. It's $5,000 almost worth of products for $9.97. You should really do that. Okay, again, it expires today. Where are the questions? In this computer here?
Yeah.
Where? I don't see them.
Did it go up?
Yep. Take a spatula. Good job, Liz. So I have people who wrote in some questions here. Okay. How would you use the straight line when pitching multiple people at the same time? For example, to a group of venture capitalists and pitching for stuff. Okay. Good question. So how do you essentially use the straight line when there's, I guess he's saying for many people in the same room. Well, again, there's really no difference other than there's a little bit of a strategy of making eye contact and finding out who the power person is. Some of it's just perception. The same rules, just so you know, apply. Whether there's one person in the room or 4 people in the room, the things that will add up to one person will add to all 4. Now, part of this is reading their body language. And number one, first thing, you need to know who's the ultimate decision maker. And you need to make sure that you're catering and making the most eye contact with them. Okay, so that's part of doing your homework. Before you walk in somewhere blind, know who you're meeting with. Find out the landscape, and make sure that you're speaking to that person, favoring that person with your eye contact and so forth. All right, but other than that, just so you know, there really isn't that much difference. It's more about you, and again, there is actually a module in the straight line system that goes through that, but it's really more about you learning how to use your body language and understanding the dynamics of 3 or 4 people where, who's in charge and who doesn't really matter. Because in that room of 4 or 5 people, it's really one or 2 people are the decision makers, bottom line. So you got to be smart about that, do your homework, and follow, and don't get, and again, don't let them take you off the straight line. You have to take control of the room, all right? Have confidence and stay on the straight line, okay? Next question. Should I be more aggressive when people use objections? How can I boost my pressure? Well again, I'm a firm believer that you don't need to use aggression with this. I've done it, as you know, right? Okay, because I've done it. You saw the movie, right? So I'm not going to deny that I didn't do some stuff in the past, but I've learned that it's not necessary. To be smooth and more consultative in your tonality than pressuring someone is far more effective. And the way you do that is through your tonality. See, it's, what makes something aggressive, you say something, say to someone, so, tell me, John, what's your greatest fear? What's really worrying you right now about your business, right? Well, that's not very aggressive. That's very, sympathetic, low key, right? John, what's really bothering you? What's keeping you up at night? Versus, so John, what's keeping you up at night, huh? Come on, let's go. What's fucking around? What's on your mind? What's bothering? What's eating away? Then you're aggressive. So much of how you're perceived is based on your body language and is based on your tonality. So again, that's really what it comes down to. So answering objections, again, is the strategy that I use is not a high pressure strategy unless you make it that way by talking in a way that's high pressure. Be cool, use your, this is the main straight line on tonalities, those 10 tonalities, one of the bottled enthusiasm. That's how you stay certain, positive, but not high pressure. Okay? Let's see. How can I convince someone to hire me? How can I nail the job interview? I work in a male-dominated industry. Tell most men as a woman what are some of the key things that I can do to before so I take it seriously. It's the good old boys club. Yeah, listen, I think that. So basically, what this woman says, she's a woman in a man's industry, so to speak, and what can she do to make herself, get hired? I guess she's looking for a job, maybe, or be more effective in front of clients. And frankly, a lot of it is probably a limiting belief in your own head. I don't care. Listen, I hired mostly men because mostly men applied. But any sharp, confident woman who dressed correctly, not dressed for sex, dressed for business, not dressed for the nightclub, right? Talks good, confident, makes the right eye contact. Go through the body language aspect of the straight line is so crucial for having that charisma and using your tonality and knowing what you're going to say before. It's so simple to be perceived as a person of power once you know how. So again, a lot of this is in your own head that you're a woman. It's not that, okay? Any sharp woman has got an edge, okay? I'm telling you, you're sharp. It's an edge over even men. So focus on your skills, not on your gender, and that will get you much. Because frankly, there's a dead end to focus on your. What can I say? Or to make you more a woman, threatening with sexual harassment. I don't fuck. What are you gonna do, right? I mean, it's not a stupid question, but it's a dead end question. But the truth is, it's irrelevant. It's about you. Okay, you have the confidence to just go in there and just smash it, and they'll say, "Wow, this is something we want to have on board because they're going to do a ton of business." That's your attitude and your confidence will carry the day. Okay, let's see. What is the single most important characteristic that I should look for in finding a company to represent? Well, I mean, listen. There's two sides to the coin. It would be nice if you could sell a product that you loved and believed in, right? That would be great. If you're passionate, it turns you on. That's not always possible, right? Sometimes, the very lucrative product, and it just simply just doesn't, you don't have any connection to it. So in that case, you look to have your connection be by helping people. Like I love the aspect of helping people get what they want. That's the key to making that that leap from, I'm not that passionate about what I'm selling, but I'm passionate about helping people get what they want, right? In terms of the fuck are you doing, Liz? All right. In terms, she just can't sit it. She's playing the fucking phone, right? All right. Anyway, she's like fine. Okay. Anyway, you see, now I lost my fucking train of thought. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Siri. Fuck with Siri. Anyway. All right. I had a good thought here. What was I even talking about? I forgot. Anyway, who knows? All right. Anyway, so because of Liz, I lost my train of thought. So you're screwed now. Okay, and if I remember what I was going to say, I'll go back. So let's move on to the next question. Okay, can the straight line system work in email marketing? Oh my God, absolutely. So listen, the straight line is I do it all the time. Remember I was saying before, I use it all the time for not really sales purposes. I use the straight line system for writing emails, and it is just so deadly effective. I mean, not in an unethical way, but it is so effective by essentially learning how to structure emails in a way that just fucking makes people want to, how do I find out more? How do I take the next step? That is, of course. So, and actually there's some content in the system about that. Okay, so again, the answer is yes, yes, yes. And, really, email is simply another form of communication, right? So the same rules are going to apply. Okay, but I have some content in the system about that. All right? Let's see. Hold on. You add this. This I can't find out. What the fuck? Oh, can I ask? 1 second. Can you recommend some exercise to master tonality? This is a good question. Can I give you some exercises to master tonality? So there's 10 tonalities, right? The most effective exercise that I have come up with for tonality is to have two people go into a group, two people, right? And you have one's the A, one's the B, and you have the A pitch the B and go through, let's say you start with each of the 10 tonalities, one certainty, right? And have him talk about something stupid like this, the ceiling of the sun, and talk about it in a tone like the sun. I'm so certain the sun's going to rise tomorrow. Just talk about something that's obviously certain, right? And get yourself into a state of certainty. As you're talking, have the other person watch what gestures you make. See, we all make certain gestures. I do this. When I'm feeling certain, just one thing I do, it's my anchor, right? Everyone makes certain gestures. I want you to find out what gestures you make. What essentially, what do you link to your tonality? Then the B will observe that while you're doing it. After you're done, B will say, wow, when you were talking, you were really sounding certain. I noticed that you put your hand like this, or you went like this, or everyone's got a different gesture. And then once you know what that gesture is, I want you to start using it, linking actively to help you create your tonalities. That's the most powerful thing you can do. So go through each of the 10 tonalities, go back and forth with each other, identify your gestures, and link the two together, and then practice in the mirror. You will be shocked at how easy it becomes to generate those 10 tonalities. Okay? Got time for one more question. How do I use your technique to motivate and help me when I've lost everything? My confidence is gone, and I know confidence is everything. I have dreams of greatness, but I feel paralyzed. Well, listen. Don't fucking talk to me about that shit. I was in jail. Okay? You couldn't have been in worse shape than me. Okay? I was at the absolute bottom of life, publicly humiliated, lost all my money, my family, stripped of everything, my pride, my dignity, thrown in jail. I admit it wasn't the worst. I wasn't getting butt fucked by Bubba. I wasn't that terrible, but it was jail. Jail's jail, okay? So don't say, it's like the old saying, it's not, the cliche is, it's not what happens, it's not like whether or not you get knocked down, it's what you do when you get back up, okay? It's a fucking cliche. Here's the bottom line, okay? What allowed me to come back from failure and to achieve what I've achieved in the wake of that mistake that I made that cost me everything was two things, two distinct things. One of them was the inner game, on the inner side, and that was understanding why, at the deepest level, I had no choice but to come back. It was not a possibility to not come back from failure. Why was it important to me? Was it about money? No. Was it about fame? No, I didn't. I mean, it ended up happening, but I didn't think that was going to happen. Okay? Wasn't fame, wasn't fortune. What was it? It was my children. I love my children so much. I wanted to reunite with them, make them proud again, to help secure their future. It was so important to me. That was my why. Once you know your why at the deepest level, it is fucking powerful. You can get yourself to overcome any barrier and obstacle. So you have to know why. You say that, you feel like you're worthless. Well, then, fuck yourself. Come on, stop it. We won't do it for ourselves. We'll always do more for someone else that we love or a cause that we care about. The power is not in you. It's not, I want to do it because I want my life. No, I want to help the person I love and cherish, my family, my religion, whatever that cause might be or that thing, that person is, that's where your power lies. And once you identify that, you can tap into that and you can get through any barrier and obstacle in terms of motivation. Promise you. Second thing, you got to learn to fucking close the deal. And that's it. I have a skill set that separates me from pretty much everyone else in the world. And there are those that are like me, right? That they have this a natural ability to fucking close, to sell anything to anyone. When you have that skill set, you can never be unsuccessful for very long because everyone needs someone like that. And you can always, and then with the positive mentality of knowing your why and then being able to essentially close to get people to do things, to get people to take action, that is invaluable. So when I say, again, I don't, whether you buy my program, I don't give a shit whether you buy it or not, okay? But if you don't own the straight line system, shame on you. Shame on you if you go through life disempowered. Because you are disempowered. If you can't close, if you can't communicate, if you don't know how to share your ideas, tell a story, engage people, If you get into rapport, if you don't know this stuff, God, do you know what you're missing in life? You're working 3 times as hard as you have to. You make half as much as you should, and you're probably worried, sick, and feel terrible about it the whole time because there's something wrong. It's like, why is it so hard to make money? Making money is the easiest fucking thing in the world for me. It is. It's so easy because I have the skill sets. The primary skill set is knowing how to close the deal. That's it. And also, you need to know how to market. That's why I said that when I say the kitchen sink, today's offer is $9.97 for everything. I mean, it covers literally everything: marketing, sales, the inner game. So I love doing it. It's my gift. It's a gift to people. It is, because it's worth 100 times that. All right. So don't tell me that I'm down, I'm out. You know what? Shut the fuck up. Find out who you love, who you care about, who you need to provide for, who you will not let down. And then go out and become a fucking closer and watch how quickly your life turns around. I promise you. That's the truth. And that's a great way to end this live cast, guys. It was awesome to be with you. Again, it's Jordan Belfort. Here's the thing. I love this shit right here. JordanBelfort.Facebook.com. That's my website. High-tech shit. Okay, the offer again was $9.97. There's a guy like on Fox News does a shit. $9.97 kitchen sink deal with a smiley face. Okay. Anyway, and here's what it covers. It covers the straight line persuasion, normally $19.97. I mean, it's fucking guys. I do this twice a year. Once at Christmas and then once during the year. So if you don't do this, shame on you. If you already have the stuff, go through it again. The key to success. Really, and this is in closing, the key to success in life is reconciling the 2 worlds of success. The inner game on one side, what's up here, your mindset, that sets you up for massive greatness in the hour. Then you have to know the strategies of business, to close the deal, to market. If you know the inner and the outer game, guys, you can't fail. You'll fail, but you can't ultimately not succeed. Failure is part of success. But having the skill sets to do it is a prerequisite. So if you can't close the highest level, it's like, what the fuck? What are you? It baffles me. Do you know that if I didn't know how to market, I know I'm an expert marketer, right? If I didn't know, I'd fucking buy it. I'd learn it. I just freaking if I want to play the piano, I take fucking piano lessons. You know how much money I've spent on tennis lessons? I've spent probably $100,000 on tennis lessons. More. $300 a day, $1,500. I've spent $300,000 on tennis lessons. I'm a fucking good tennis player now. You think I could have gotten there without playing? I got number 20 in the world, right? To teach me. You want to find a mentor that fucking knows it, can teach it. I'm handing you a gift here, so if you don't use it, shame on you, okay? You're going through life like freaking half blind if you can't close and can't market. So again, I love you. I wish you nothing but the best, but don't look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say, and don't go through life disempowered. Okay? There's this level of living that I'm at right now that I haven't always been at. Again, but there's a level on that now. It feels good. When things are going well and you love the person you're with, your partner, and it's not even about how much money you have. It's about where you think you're going. Having a vision for your future. It's not I'm going to say I'm the richest guy in the world, because it's not the point. The point is I know where I'm going. I've never felt better. And I want you to have that feeling too. I really mean that. It's a gift that you give yourself. Okay? So again, if you don't own the system, go fucking do it. All right? Do it for yourself and do it for the people you love. You won't be sorry. All right? I love you all, and take care.